What is up, book nerds? We're doing a week 5 power rankings. Let's go. Starting out with the Bears. The Bears are C tier. This team had a good win over the Rams. Ran the ball down their throat, but this overhyped offense has not produced at the level we all thought they would. Well, I didn't think that everybody else did. Ravens, A tier. This team shellacked the Bills, smacked them, shellacked them, all the things against them. 25-point difference. They're back and probably going to win the AFC North. The Eagles, they got shellacked by the Bucks. The Bucks repeated what happened in the divisional round. No, it was the wild card round. Just completely destroying them limb from limb. And I don't know if this is a real contender after losing that badly. San Francisco 49ers. B tier. This is a weird team to say they're 2-2. I didn't realize how badly they needed CMC, but they need him. They look poised that they could probably win the division depending on how the Seahawks play, because this is around a couple years ago when the Cardinals were in control and then they completely lost themselves at the end and lost the division to the Rams. I feel like this probably will be a very similar situation. Bills, S tier. Yes, they just got beat up by the Ravens. But their first 3 weeks of football were impeccable. Amazing play. And they were due for a loss. That does question whether or not they can beat real teams. But for right now, they're S tier. Saints. Way to put a 2-2 start to waste. Dropping 2 straight. They haven't been had a funny story. The Saints, their rivalry with the Falcons, they have never been in the driver's seat in that division rivalry since it started. Next, Seahawks, A tier. Just got a bad loss to the Lions, but they played pretty good the 3 weeks, but their defense is concerning because the defense fell asleep. Let's see, next up, S tier, Vikings. I pick against this team every week, and every week I'm wrong. This team is this team a Super Bowl contender? Or is Sam Darnold going to win MVP? Because if that's the case, I predict this team to get the first overall pick. Do I not know ball? Am I this bad not knowing ball? Let's see. We got to fill up. Let's throw someone in F tier. Jags, F tier, 0-4. From what I've heard, the O line is absolutely dog water. And maybe Trevor Lawrence would be good if he actually had a good O-line, in which might as well bring in the Browns. The other team I can say the exact same thing for is let's see, they're in D tier. Is the quarterback trash, or is that O-line just that bad? Next up, Packers, B tier. The Packers B tier, this team is 2-0 with Malik Willis and 0-2 with Jordan Love. Granted, I don't think there's a quarterback controversy, but does there need to be? That's it's starting to concern me a bit. Jordan Love needs to win, but they got the Rams. They could go either way. Cardinals, D tier. Martin Harrison Jr. is this team. He's generated crazy amounts of fantasy points, except for his week 1, in which it was miserable. But they just got beat up by the Commanders. So, yeah, their coach may be on the hot seat because he was a defensive coordinator. Let's see, Bucks A tier. Bucks A tier. This team just beat up the Eagles. that beatdown. They basically ran it back, and Baker Mayfield looks great, even though they don't got Dave Canales anymore. Cowboys, B tier. What the heck happened to this defense? This was supposed to be a good defensive team. The team is not good defensively. I don't know why. Lions, S tier. Great football. They played an impeccable game against the Seahawks. They were poised to fight the Vikings for the North. So that's going to be a fun rivalry, and the Packers are in the race. So right now it's a three-way race for the North. Next up, Jets. Ugly loss to the Broncos. Absolutely atrocious. B tier. It was 1 point, but that was like the worst game of the week. Like that game was on cable, and I was like, I don't even want to watch this. It's so boring. Bengals, D tier, finally got the win. They're 1-3 right now, and I can't put them any higher unless they win. Chiefs, S tier. They're gonna be in S tier all season, aren't they? They're not gonna lose until they've already secured a playoff spot, aren't they? That's just the way it is. Is it Colts? B tier. The Colts, they could either be way better than I thought or way worse than I thought, because they have a pretty easy schedule coming up, and I don't know how long Anthony Richardson's out for, but Joe Flacco has shown that he can play. So unless he wants to run it back like he did in Cleveland, in Indianapolis, they could easily get into the postseason. Raiders, C tier. I'm gonna bring up the Broncos because they both play each other this week. I feel like this is probably the most even matchup of two teams, because these two teams, they feel identical, even though they're not similar in the least bit roster wise. Because one of them has Devontae Adams, a great receiver that they've done nearly nothing with, a great defense that's had to bail him out of every situation, and both of them questionable quarterback play. That's kind of similar, but right now their positioning in the league feels identical. Like they're very interchangeable. Panthers, F tier. Not the worst team in the league this season. That was surprising. I thought they're guaranteed to get a top 2 pick. They might not be a top 5 pick because there are so many trash teams. Speaking of which, we got room. Let's all talk about them. Pats. Horrid. Jacoby Brissett is not that guy. Giants. Daniel Jones is not that guy. Titans. Will Levis is not that guy. I feel like that very much sums up the F tier for me. Next up, Rams, D tier. This team and the Chargers, LA's actually in a very similar spot there, and the Chargers are slightly better in C tier. Both of these teams had so much on that roster, so much talent, yet so injured. Like these two and the Vikings are always injured. Like if it wasn't for injury, both these teams would actually be in really good positions. Texans, S tier. It's a tough matchup coming up next week against the Bills, but I think they got it. I think they could easily pull this off. Stephon Diggs, or the Bills could pull it off. It's really either way. This game is all about Stephon Diggs' revenge or Josh Allen's revenge. Let's see. But this team playing great football had that one horrible game against the Vikings, which also questions how they play against contenders. But I guess that just shows the Vikings are true contenders, I guess. Steelers, A tier. The Steelers had an ugly loss to the Colts, which I actually predicted. Good on me. They were due for a loss, so I'm not too upset about it. But A tier, they are still going to make the playoffs. It's the Dolphins, D tier. This team, it's all Tua. Tua's out. Their season is over. It's about time to think about Tua either coming back and should you invest this pick in a quarterback and just let Tua retire? Tell him, hang it up, buddy. Or do you invest it into something else? Because how is this team playing so horrid? This shows how good Tua was. Falcons. Falcons are C tier, right there in C tier. This team just beat the Saints, and they could take control of the South if they can beat the Bucks. And Kyle Pitts good? What was that game? Commanders A tier. They're winning the division, and Jaden Daniels looks like the next coming of Lamar Jackson, just like we all predicted. We all saw this coming. I didn't. I don't think you did either. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified when I upload next. I will see you in the next one. Peace.